Hi guys, right, I'm out with my two boys now. This is a Saturday afternoon walk and I've got my Beagle over here and my little Sooty. You going to come here, guys? See if I can get one of them to come. Sooty, come here please. Soot, come here. If I hold them on the leaves they'll probably stop. Hang on Soot, hang on. Right, Sooty here. This is my little Soot. Now my little Sooty is a Scottie and we've had both our dogs from puppies. My other dog, that's my Beagle. He's called Snoopy. There's about six years difference between my two dogs. They are totally opposite to each other, but they work so well together. They are such a good pair. Right, you've got your lead wrapped around your leg. Can you hear the farmers are out shooting today? So I've got to be careful where I go today. Let's get your foot unwrapped here. Right, I'm trying to unravel my Sooty. That's it. He's got the lead wrapped around his leg. Oh, right, dog history. Let me tell you a little bit about my dog history, guys. Always had dogs. My parents always had dogs and my grandparents always had dogs. It's been something I've always been brought up with. Really fantastic having dogs in your life, guys. The first dog I can remember was a boxer. His name was Bengo, and it must have been somewhere around 1965, guys, the first dog I can remember. He lived 75, hang on, he lived about 10 plus years. He was an absolutely gorgeous dog. He was a bit of a handful. My dad used to take him hunting. Now my dad actually had a shotgun. My dad had a shotgun licence. He used to go out and shoot on a farmer's land. And he used to take our boxer with him. And apparently the boxer was better at catching the pheasants than my dad was at shooting them, guys. So he passed when I was about 14 or 15 years old. Beautiful dog. My parents then got a Labrador. They replaced him with a Labrador. And they called him Luke. Luke the Labrador. He was a fantastic dog. First Labrador we ever owned. My younger sister, she loved him so much that when she moved out of our house and set herself up with her boyfriend, she used to come and borrow the Labrador. She used to come and say, "Can I take Luke for a walk?" And they'd say, "Yes, that's fine." And then she'd bring him back. Then she'd come and borrow him again. She said, "Can I take your Labrador out again?" "Yes, of course you can." "Can I bring him back tomorrow?" "Yeah, that's not a problem." And then she kept dragging it out. And eventually, the Labrador never came back. She adopted him full time. He moved in with her. And so that's how my younger sister got her first dog. She sort of stole ours. But he was a lovely dog. Now, while my parents had the Labrador, they got themselves a Westie. And they called him Max. And they loved this little Westie so much, they bought a girl. I think it was Pepper, or was it Dusty? I think it might have been Dusty. I can't remember now. There's been a lot of dogs come and go through the years. But my parents bought a Westie. And then they started to breed the Westies. And then they got more Westies and more Westies. And eventually, my parents must have had the best part of 10 dogs. They were breeding them and selling them. They changed from Westies to Norfolks, little Norfolk Terriers, which were, you could get reds or black and tans. And they bred those as well. And then eventually they went over to Manchesters, which were, again, a black and tan dog. That's the last dogs my parents ever had. My dog history started off with Westies, my own personal dogs. And the first Westie I ever had was actually given to me by my parents because they bred them. They gifted the dog to myself and the children. And that was our very first dog. I've had two Westies. I vowed I wouldn't have any more Westies because I had a lot of issues with both of them. Mainly skin related, skin and fur related. They were both constantly down the vets for one thing or another. Now, while I had the Westies, I then got my very first Scottie. Used a lot of imagination when we picked the name for that one. We called him Scott. Scott the Scottie. He was a cracking dog. He was a champion dog. He came from champions. He was bred from champions, and he was an absolute stunner. As Scotties go, he was the best looking Scottie I've ever had. So much so that I used to take him to a specialist dog groomer who used to show them. And he asked whether I would let him show my Scottie, because I said that the Scottie was purely a pet, that I wasn't going to breed with him or anything like that. He was just going to be a pet. And he asked me whether he would mind, if I would mind, if he took my dog to some shows. And I said, no, not at all. My son got involved because my son loved the Scottie so much. He wanted to get involved. And so it was Mr. Mills was the gentleman who took him to the shows. And so my son and Mr. Mills would go to the dog shows. My son learned how to show my Scottie, and they took him to lots of dog shows, and he did so well that he actually ended up at Crufts. He didn't win anything at Crufts, guys, but he got there. That was his claim to fame. But he was a stunning dog. I've had another 2 Scotties since then. I love my Scotties, and I will continue to get Scotties because they are such a lovely dog. The odd one out of the lot is my Beagle. Now, my Beagle came along because my ex-wife wanted to have a Beagle. So that's how the Beagle came about. Had a few issues with the Beagle when we first got him. He was ill shortly after we got him. We very nearly lost him, but we had to get him to a special doggy vets, and he recovered, but he cost us a lot of money in that respect. But he's a lovely dog, but I wouldn't buy another one. The reasons I wouldn't buy another Beagle is because I can't let him off the lead. He follows his nose. He's a proper hound, and once he gets the scent of something, he just goes, and you can't get him back. He just disappears. So I can't let him off the lead. Now, all my dogs up to this point, I'd always been able to have off the lead, but my Beagle has been the exception to the rule. Oh, it's starting to get really drizzly now, guys. I might have to put my hood up in a minute. But yes, he's a lovely, lovely dog, but I wouldn't get another Beagle. Oh, there's a deer in the field ahead of us. Just its white tail. Right, it's disappeared into the hedge now. So yeah, that's my dog history to date. So I've still, at the moment, got my Scottie and my Beagle. Love them both to death. Will I change my dogs once one of them moves on? Yes, I will. I'll always have dogs, guys. That will never change. Not while I've got air in my lungs, that's for sure. Right, guys, I'm going to have to stop filming now because I'm getting really wet now. There's a really fine blowy drizzle at the moment, so I'm going to put my hood up for a second. And I shall sign out now, and we shall have another chat in a minute. Okay? Bye-bye.